You can now talk.
Alright, hello! Hello, I am Pro 21, and this is Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for the Game Boy Color.
And this is
Pokemon Puzzle Challenge commentary,
for the Game Boy
I have
Color.
T-Man. How you doing, T-Man?
So on
I'm
commentary,
doing pretty well. I am a Pokemon Puzzle League
T-Man. How you
speedrunner, but
doing,
of course I'm familiar with the other games in the Puzzle League series.
Cool. Yo, what's up? So yes,
cool.
So yeah, the category we're going to be doing today is easy to intense.
So yeah, the category
So
we're going to be doing
basically,
today is
We're start with easy mode, and we're going to work away
So basically, we're going to
all the way up
start with easy mode,
to
and
intense.
we're going to work away.
Now there's actually a bit more. You actually got to choose
to
the
intense.
Pokemon that
Now there's actually
I'll
a
be
bit
using
more.
for
You
the
guys got to
entirety of the
choose
run.
the Pokemon that.
Hey,
I'll be
FFR,
using
just
for
make
the
sure you need to
entirety of
mute
the
your
run.
mic in OBS, or else we're getting a bit of an echo.
What?
Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, that is muted. Okay. Hopefully everything sounds good. Like I said, anyways, what Pokemon won the Big War? So what Pokemon are we choosing?
It is Cyndaquil.
Ah, Cyndaquil. Okay. All right, so
Is that-
Cyndaquil it is.
Is that the default one?
No, default one is actually Chikorita, but
Oh,
Cyndaquil is
Chikorita,
just Cyndaquil is one to the right, so it's actually not that bad from anyone. Alright, well, Taman, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's speedrun a bad game.
Oh, come on, this game is not that bad. There are many games in this series that are worse than this.
Good game, bad speed game. But we're gonna have fun.
Alright, well, let's get started here in 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, yeah, we fixed it. Well, harness! Run.
Okay, so as we go, so a lot of you guys are familiar with the Puzzle League series, I imagine, but if not, it's basically just a match 3 puzzle game. You can see that as you can move blocks around the grid. If you clear 3 or more, and if you line up 3 or more, they clear, and if you clear more than 3, like 4 or more, it's a combo. If you clear blocks and more fall again, we call that a chain. So in the mobile games in this series, you don't have, like, the opponent doesn't have their own field. Instead, you win by doing chains and combos to damage their health bar. So in the easiest difficulty, you can see that these enemies are going to go down pretty quickly. Their health is very low. They're not really going to do anything. And really, they're going to go down with just like a small chain and some combos in easy mode. So really, you can knock down easy mode, and a skilled player can take down easy mode in under 4 or 5 minutes. And in other Puzzle League games like Tetris Attack and Pokemon Puzzle League, the opponent, like I mentioned, they'll have their own field, so they would do their own combos and chains that send you garbage. In this game, because the opponents don't have the field, they just randomly send over combos and chains, and as the difficulty level ramps up, they will send more and more. So on easy mode, they're mostly just going to send, like, the occasional 4 combo or 2 chain. They're nothing of consequence. Like, they don't have to really, the runner doesn't really have to worry about the AI sending garbage. But as we move our way up to intense mode, they're going to be sending these big old chunguses, like 12 chains, 13 chains, that the garbage absolutely matters, and you're gonna have to play off of that. But we'll worry more about that once we get there. So FFR has already made his way to stage 6 here. These guys go down really quickly, like under 14 seconds. And honestly, you can get under 10 seconds if you're really fast and have good block arrangement. And I can't quite remember how far easy mode goes, but it's not. I believe it just goes through the end of the gym leaders, which would be Claire, I believe.
Yeah, it's just the gym leaders.
Yeah, so we're already up on the final stage of easy mode here. This game...
As soon as we're done one difficulty, we stop resets. And on to the next one. Well.
Oh yeah, a fun strategy that was discovered a little over a year ago, I believe, was that it's actually, instead of, like, after you defeat an opponent, instead of, like, waiting to move on to the next opponent, it's actually faster to soft reset out and restart. Or continue.
You soft reset and then continue. I think it's like 3/4 of a second per stage.
Yeah, it actually gave FFR Pro at the time a free world record. So that was a pretty fun discovery.
Well, it wasn't me, it was Cards.
Right, yeah. Cards of the Heart discovered that one day just messing around, I think. So now we're on to normal mode. Enemy is going to have a little more health, and they might send a tiny bit more garbage, but they're still going to go down super fast. I think you want to do, like, I don't know the exact numbers of like how much health these guys have or how much they chain. This is not my speed game, but basically we have a spreadsheet. Certain size chains and combos send a certain amount of damage, and we know the health of each opponent. So basically, we know how much we have to do in order to knock their health down. And on the easier difficulties, you can just do that in a single chain if you're good enough, like with some combos sprinkled in.
Yeah, I think you can defeat up to. I think you need some of the S hard opponents in one chain.
Yeah, S hard is the second to last difficulty, and I think on the first few stages where they don't have as much health, if you have a long enough chain with combos, you can knock them down in one fell swoop. But once you get too intense, it gets very difficult. In the sense that normally you're going to have two gigantic chains, and one of them is going to be off of the garbage.
Yeah. And so far, just cruising along here.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun to run these easier categories. Like I said, this isn't my main game, but like one day I was just so captivated by the absolute blitz of easy mode. Like, you're just going like as fast as you can, and you are trying to do lag chains to get your damage in quicker. Lag chains are basically when you have two chains ongoing at the same time, like offset by a few milliseconds. And I would call getting lag chains set up is probably as good as you can get as a Puzzle League player. Like, it really is it takes an incredible amount of cursor speed and board awareness. So I did that once for like 5 or 6 hours, like from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. I was just absolutely captivated by just going as fast as I can. Like the way this game works, or the easier difficulties at least. Like imagine a traditional speed game, but you can like actually impact your walking speed. That's basically what you're doing by just going as fast as you can with the cursor movement and the chaining. Like you don't have a fixed speed. Like you can go faster. There is like an upper limit, and some players are ridiculously good and have ridiculous cursor speed, FFR Pro included, and other runners such as Blimzer and Yoshimitsu. And
Yoshimitsu is a big one. Every game in the series.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's Yoshimitsu that just beats every game in the series.
Yeah, Yoshimitsu, he is so good. Like, just to talk about some of the community lore, a lot of people are familiar with Cards of the Heart. He grinds these games a lot. He took back world record in Pokemon Puzzle League Easy mode, and then Yoshimitsu just came and got it less than 24 hours later. So he's pretty good. And you can see now we are in the Elite Four in normal mode, and in normal mode it does not go all the way through. I think it's just the first 2 or 3 people.
And all goes to Karen.
Yeah, all the way to Karen.
Hard mode.
Yeah, but that's hard mode. So now, not intense there. That would be a bad idea. Yeah, so in hard mode, it's still possible to take these guys down in a single chain, but it's going to take a much longer chain. And I think it's still possible towards the end, but it has to be like a 12 or a 13 chain.
Yeah, you can still get all of the opponents in one chain.
Yeah, and then once we move out of the beginning of Super Hard is when it's going to have to be multiple chains. And then, of course, doing combos in your chains is really important. So it does have that in common with Tetris Attack. Tetris Attack, you just want to send as much garbage as fast as possible, which involves adding chains into... adding combos into your chains, excuse me. And then in this game, it's just... instead of sending garbage, it's just sending damage to their health. So pretty quick Clefairy there. And thank God it's Clefairy and not Miltank, because I freaking hated Rollout in Pokemon Gold and Silver. It's an absolute nightmare.
And the runners found out that it was never the Miltank, after all.
Say that again?
And then Pokemon Speedrunners found out that it was never the Miltank. It's always the Clefairy.
Oh, Clefairy ruins the runs in Gold and Silver?
Because it has Metronome.
Oh god. Man, like, doing like regular Pokemon speedruns, I can't imagine, even though I speedrun a super heavy RNG game myself. It's just like, sometimes that's the great thing about speedrunning, is that you just, if you love the game, you'll want to just keep playing it, warts and all. It's Helix going down in a single chain, so that's very good. Hollow was never that difficult if you had a good fire Pokemon. Ugh. Having a bit of a post-inner crash.
Okay, probably didn't heal, so that's good.
Oh yeah, the healing mechanic is something that's going to come into play pretty soon. If, as far as I understand it, once the enemy falls under half health, I believe, or a certain threshold, they have a chance to heal. And that doesn't really matter in earlier difficulties because you take them all out in one chain anyway, so they don't get to low health. But as we get to super hard and intense, it introduces an RNG mechanic, and actually it's very important to try to do just enough damage so they don't fall into the healing range, and then do one final gigantic chain to take off the rest of their health. Like, that is the most difficult thing about intense once we get there. And it will be an issue if FFR ever drops his chain and doesn't take them out in one go. So you can see Dragonair has a quarter health, so they could heal here. It looks like they didn't, unfortunately, but that wastes. It could waste anywhere from a few seconds if you have like another chain or combo set up to maybe like 30 seconds if they were at a sliver of health and they heal and you don't have many blocks, which in intense is probably going to be the case because the enemy is going to be dropping a bunch of blocks on you. So it just takes a long time for that garbage to clear. So it can waste a lot of time. Like, healing, I really don't like a healing mechanic at all. It kind of prevents Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, at least the later difficulties, from being kind of pure skill runs. Because there's the element of RNG is, like, are they going to heal? Like, are they not? Like, if they didn't have the healing mechanic, it's just a race of who can chain the fastest. And I think that would be really neat. But instead we have this healing element that personally turned me off of speedrunning the game.
To be fair, it's kind of like them using potions and whatnot.
Yeah, like they're trying to simulate the gym leaders in Elite Four using potions in the base games, which is also dumb. Like, let's be honest. Like, it HP basically. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, if anyone has any questions about the game, feel free to ask in chat. I'll do my best to answer based off of my limited exposure to this game. We actually had a tournament for this back in the fall, the Puzzle General community. We normally alternate between Tetris Attack and Pokemon Puzzle League, but Pokemon Puzzle League is actually having its 20th anniversary this year, so we decided to have Pokemon Puzzle Challenge Tournament instead, which had not been done before.
Well, this game as well is also celebrating its 20th anniversary this year.
Sorry, say that again?
This game is also celebrating its 20th anniversary this year.
Oh yeah, I think I did not know that actually, but I think we decided to go with the Puzzle League tournament because it's more well known. Someone's asking in chat, biggest reason to play this over Puzzle League. You would play this if you if you prefer a health bar system as opposed to the garbage system. Because in Pokemon Puzzle League, the opponent has their own screen, and you kill them when they're when their screen is full of garbage, and there can be a lot more randomness there. If they keep clearing your garbage, it's going to go on a long time. In Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, they can heal, but eventually they're just going to die. So if you prefer a health bar system, if you prefer just doing chains and combos as fast as you can, you would want to play this game. And maybe just aesthetic preferences. This game is based off of Gen 2. Maybe you like that over the anime Gen 1 flavor of Pokemon Puzzle League. I think that's the great thing about the Puzzle League series, which is like Panel Depon, Tetris Attack, Pokemon Puzzle League, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, Planet Puzzle. About that is that there's a bunch of different flavor to each game, and like kind of minute mechanical differences between the games as well. Like Tetris Attack feels a little different from Pokemon Puzzle League and Pokemon Challenge, and Panel Depon has its own feel. So even within these games all have the same mechanics, but they all have their own feel to them. There are some people that basically just play or stream or speedrun Tetris Attack or Panel Depon. They don't even touch the other games. Oh yeah, and this game is a little more accessible on the 3DS VC. So right now FFR is going through S-Hard, and this is the point where he's going to start having to do multiple chains in order to take these guys out towards the end of S-Hard.
Well, we can still get knocked down with one chain, but right now we're not executing that very well.
Yeah, it's very much a matter of getting in a flow. You want to go as fast as you can, obviously, and that means like you might, be a little more reckless, or you might make mistakes. Like some players are much more high variance, where they're just going to go for crazy plays for the sake of speed, versus some players might play a little more methodologically, which will be a little slower but consistent. And really, if you're speedrunning, you probably want to use the high variance strategies and hope like you can get everything to pan your way in a single run. But in a tournament setting, when you just have single matches against people, like the consistency versus high risk strategies really matters. And if you're going against someone who you know is probably better than you, that you might have no choice but to use the high variance strategies and hope you can get things to break your way. I went against FFR Pro in our Pokemon Puzzle Challenge tournament, and I absolutely had to go balls to the wall because his cursor speed is just so much faster than mine. Also, that was a shout-outs to that frickin' 14 chain there. We call those Forky strats after BB Forky because back when I wasn't around at the time, but back when the puzzle community was pretty young and basically just doing Pokemon Puzzle League, one of our founding members, BB Forky, he would use these gigantic chaining strategies that don't actually work that well, but to my knowledge, they don't work well in Pokemon Puzzle League, but they're absolutely what you want in this game. Because, like, the more you chain, like, the bigger your chain gets, the more damage you're doing to the opponent. But Forky would use those strategies in Puzzle League and have good luck with them. So we call them Forky strats. Alright, so we all know that FFR Pro's favorite Pokemon is Vaporeon, but what is everyone else's favorite Pokemon? My favorite, personally, is Absol.
Absol's pretty good.
Ooh, Arcanine. Raikou Rider, I'm guessing your favorite is Rayquaza. And Arcanine, also known as a literal dog in Pokemon Puzzle League and the anime, because his sound effect is just like a dog barking. So FFR getting some pretty sweet lag chains going here, and I can also see like this game being a better choice if you enjoy a little more flair to your puzzle games, because you are going for these giant combos and giant chains and these overlapping lag chains. It has a lot more flair to it than super hard in Pokemon Puzzle League, which is what I run. Because it's really fun to swag out with these big chains and combos. Because you can see FFR is going for these offsetting chains and these big combos. Also, like, one other thing I forgot to note is that combos are going to send damage to the opponent immediately during the chain, but chain damage is not sent until the chain is over. So one big feels bad moment could be, let's say you are chaining and you do a combo that puts them into heal range. They could actually heal. Like, your chain might have been enough to kill them, but they heal before the chain is over. Like, that really sucks when that happens. And that's why in these harder difficulties, health bar management is really important. Oh yeah, Raikou Rider is a member of our Puzzle League community, Puzzle General. He does very well in the redemption brackets, which is where kind of like a secondary tournament we have when people get knocked off of the main bracket. He always dominates in those, and he had a tournament once where he was just doing some. This was the Tetris Attack tournament. He was doing some gigantic chains, and in Tetris Attack, big chains aren't necessarily the fastest, but they are very safe, because they're going to top off the opponent, and they're gonna die eventually. so that was a fun time. Yeah, so we're moving on towards the end of S-Hard here as Hitmontop goes down. I believe Hitmontop has the most health and intense, but I think...
Yes, he does.
But it kind of changes between difficulties. Like, I don't think he has the most health in all the difficulties. I think in one of the difficulties, Murkrow has the most health, oddly enough.
Oh yeah. I think Marco has the most health in normal, for sure.
Yeah, so we've done a little, or I think Card to the Heart did some reverse engineering of this game some years ago, and we figured out the health of all of these opponents. So right now Murkrow is probably going to heal. FFR is going to try to damage her as fast as possible. Fortunately does not heal, and we're moving on to the final stage. In Dragonite. Gonna take on Dragonite, and he didn't even catch a Jinx beforehand in the Ice Cave. It's a bold move right there. Dude, no joke. The original Gold and Silver still hold up today. I know we have the remakes, which just have more content, but Gold and Silver were just absolutely mind-blowing when they came out, with how much they expanded upon the original concept. Like, when I got Gold and Silver, I was the coolest kid in preschool. As FFR Pro tries to take down... Oh! That was a little scary there. With this big ol' free chain and combos, he's going to take down Dragonite. Now we go to intense mode, and you're going to see just how brutal these opponents get. When I was a kid, and 10 years old, I was pretty good at Puzzle League, or in general. And when I say Puzzle League, I'm referring to the entire family of these block swapping games. I could not beat Intense. So if you pay attention to the AI, they're going to be doing huge chains, especially as we move on past these beginner stages, or these first few stages. And so just watch them. Like, you can see they're dropping huge garbage blocks on FFR Pro, and he's actually going to have to take those into account. Like, he's going to have to chain off of those, and big chains are better. So there's actually a trick where you can... It's a few frame trick where you can get 2 chains off of the same garbage block with the stack level. So let's say so the way chaining works is that, let's say you're chaining and you clear 6 blocks at the same time. That's not going to count as 2 separate chains. That's going to count as a single chain with a 6 combo in it. But if those clears are offset by even just a single frame, the game is going to count that as 2 separate chains. So, as FFR Pro chains off of the garbage, if you do a swap, it's like within 1 or 2 frames, if you do a swap and a clear within 1 or 2 frames after the block lands, you can actually offset it enough to where it'll still register as a chain. Oh, and FFR Pro's going to have to take the reset there because he was hoping that he would finish Kakuna off, but did not quite have enough, and he's going to have to try that again.
Yeah, no, that's stay.
Yeah, so the difficulty leap from super hard to intense is absolutely enormous.
Would we have a second for a quick announcement?
Yeah.
Right, I would just like to remind you, you're watching NASA 2020 online. We are raising money towards Save the Children. We have already raised over $400. Thank you so much for donating towards this great cause. Your donation go towards Save the Children and their mission in giving children a healthy start in life, the opportunity to learn, and protection from harm. Thank you so very much for all of your donations, and be sure to keep them coming. Thank you.
Yeah, go check out those incentives and donate for something that you want. Alright, so these stages have, in intense mode, they have the potential to go a lot longer now, just depending on how bad the heals are and just how obnoxious they get with the garbage. And if I believe that early on, like ideally, you want to beat them like under 50 seconds, and as you get to the later stages and they have more health, you want to be beating them within like a minute 20 or minute 30 or so. So you can see, like, FFR Pro is... So what happened was he had a chain going, and then a big garbage block fell on him. Like, the chain actually cleared the garbage, and then he kept chaining off the garbage. That's how he was able to get such a gigantic chain there. And takes out the rest of Clefairy in one fell swoop.
Oh, wow, that's not too low.
But that... And one of the reasons this estimate is set so high is just because of any puzzle game, there's a lot of RNG and things can go pretty wrong. So we set the estimate pretty high in comparison to a reasonable time. FFR Pro is going to have to be careful that he manages his blocks carefully to leave himself with a clear. He's going to drop that because that's going to take out Ghastly. And when you're speedrunning intense, or really any difficulty, you have to get a sense for how much damage you're going to do based off of your chains and combos, like looking at their health bar. And there are exact numbers involved, but you can't really like tally your damage and chain at the same time. Like, you just can't do that math that fast. So it's really just developing a rough sense and hoping that you have enough. So he was breezing through all these stages through S-Hard, but it's gonna slow down a lot here. Because intense really is intense.
Thankfully, when the opponent is attacking, they can't heal while they're attacking.
Yeah. So if the opponent is like going on a big chain binge, which is often, you might have like 10 seconds of free time to try to finish them off. But the healing mechanic is definitely the source of the most RNG in intense mode. So you can see that FFR Pro did a 4-chain with a handful of with a couple combos in there. That probably would have killed an opponent in easy mode, but it only did a fifth of Primate's damage here in Intense. So these guys have a ridiculous amount of health. And I remember, like, when I was a kid, just not even being able to get past Pidgey sometimes. Because another interesting thing about Pokemon Puzzle Challenge is that you are not guaranteed to get clears off of the garbage. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you have two reds in your 2 rows of blocks below the garbage. When you clear the garbage, it will also give you a red in Pokemon Puzzle League, for instance. It'll basically give you a clear based off of the blocks you have down below the garbage, if you have enough. In Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, that is not a guarantee. You could have the garbage could clear in a way such that it doesn't give you a clear down beneath, and now you have to like kind of scramble to find a clear. Like, you can't just arrange one, and sometimes you'll just end up with a really crappy block arrangement, and it'll seriously slow you down, or you might just even die.
Just like that.
Yeah, like FFR Pro is kind of having a bad time right here. It's definitely a lot more difficult. Because in Intense, like, every stage is going to have a lot of garbage handling. As Seal goes down here. Yeah, as Raikou says, there's no way to get around the garbage in Intense. The developers definitely turned up the algorithm to 11 when programming these opponents.
Unless you're a task and you can do 28 combos.
28 combos are a meme. Oh, speaking of tasks, I recommend, if you want to see something cool, one of our members, KSS, has actually made a combo-only task of Paneled Upon, where
Yeah.
where they take down the opponents with no chaining, just combo. So you can search for that on YouTube, and that is a ridiculously cool run to watch. So we move on to the Elite Four here, Jinx, which we've seen several times, but we haven't mentioned just how Jinx has like the absolute worst cry in the game.
Also, fun fact, it is only intense difficulty that Jinx can chain.
Say that again?
Jinx can only do chains on intense difficulty.
Hey, Jinx doesn't chain in other, like in easy or anything? Or hard?
That's hard. Jinx chain.
That's really weird. I did not know that. Ooh, I'll get 8, 9, 10. I wonder, that's gonna have to be enough because he's about to get topped off. Oh no! just a sliver left. Yeah, that'll happen a lot in Intense. Like, sometimes you just have to go for the Hail Mary. Like, you're saving some blocks to clear garbage, but they're really low on health, and you might be able to take them down. So you kind of make like a last-ditch attempt and hope that stretching out that chain just one more longer will get you the win. But if not, you're gonna have to restart, and it's probably gonna cost you at least a minute. That's some good lag chaining there off the garbage. And you'll see that FFR Pro is gonna try to keep them out of the heal range, but that's, as I mentioned before, that's not always feasible just because of the math involved, and because, you know, you still want to keep chaining and doing combos regardless.
That second fight went much better.
Yeah, that was very smooth. And here we have Crobat, which I always thought was super cool. I remember spending a lot of time as a kid trying to get my Golbat's friendship up. So like,
oh, that clear.
Well, unfortunately, FFR Pro is popping the chain before he wanted to, and not able to get the best opening salvo off on Golbat. So in Intense mode, the initial chain is so important because the beginning of the stage is the only time where you'll have a full board of blocks to work with, because shortly after the stage starts, this Intense AI is going to just bombard you with garbage. And then it becomes a matter of garbage management and chaining off the garbage. Hopefully Golbat doesn't heal here, and doing an 8 chain just to be safe, and that'll take him down. So just 3 stages left, I believe. Oh yes, and him on top has the most health in Intense, and therefore the most health out of any stage in the game. I think what frustrated me as a kid and blew my mind was like, I would do a huge chain, and I'd be like, what the heck, that didn't even do half their health. Like, it's... Intense mode is like when you have an RPG or an action game where you have a boss that's just a damage sponge, where it's not necessarily hard if you're a good player, but it just takes so long. Oh, and shout-outs to Devo and Raikou in the chat, who are filling in some of the gaps in my knowledge of this game.
Oh my goodness.
It takes several 10 chains to knock out Hitmontop. Yeah, unfortunately, Hitmontop is... You can just get stuck in these cycles where you'll get them down really low, and then they'll heal, and then you'll get them low again, and they'll heal. Like, unlike the actual Pokemon games, where they can only do a full restore or Super Potion once, I believe, or maybe twice, I don't think these guys have a cap on how much they can heal. Like, you can see Hitmontop has healed all the way back up to halfway. And by the time they're healing, like, they've already sent you a bunch of garbage, and you're limited in how fast you can do stuff. FFR Pro is gonna hope that a 12 chain is enough, and it's not, and he heals once again, and that is what makes Intense mode just so frustrating, is that you get caught in the infinite rock rolling of Greek mythology that I am forgetting the name of that myth right now. But it's based. This is the Puzzle League version of that.
Oh my goodness. That was terrible.
Him on top is just stuck at a sliver of health here. In 248, that is really unfortunate. Like I said, if you are speedrunning this, you probably want to get it down in like a minute 20, minute 30, if you're lucky. Also, Sisyphus, thank you, in the chat. I'm half Greek. I should know all my Greek myths. Also, Murkrow, I believe... Does Murkrow have the highest frequency of healing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Murkrow heals the most often, and it's also annoying. So basically, when we do these easy through intense runs, it's really the intense run that takes up more than half the time. It's fairly ridiculous. So right now, FFR Pro is gonna... It looks like Murkrow is right at the healing threshold. So FFR Pro is gonna try to not send any combos and just send chains, because like it's been mentioned, chain damage is only sent once the chain's over. So he's just gonna, you know, double tap Murkrow right here by sending a big ol' 16 chain. And there's no coming back from that for Murkrow. Shoutouts to Murkrow for just being cool in general. As we are on to the final stage, unfortunately, FFR Pro having a difficult time with that initial chain. But once this is over, time is going to be as soon as Dragonite dies and the cursor disappears.
Oh, it died, okay. Oh.
Yeah. Alright, so with that 6th chain, Dragonite is going to go down to match time. So that's pretty good.
50-49? Yeah. Well, it is about 10 minutes faster than that.
Dude, but that is actually June 5th, 2020 NASA Marathon world record.
Yep.
So congrats on that. No, that was a very solid run. It's cool to be able to do easy through intense, which kind of shows off a variety of strategies for the different difficulties. You know, just going really fast for the first few difficulties, and then the whole insanely good AI at the end, and having to do the garbage management and health bar management at the end.
So yeah. Next up is an NES golf game. You wanna stick around for that, T-Man?
I don't know how useful I'm gonna be. on that, but
Don't worry, you don't have to know anything about the game.
yeah, I can hang out a little bit longer.
You can be a caddy.
We all know that caddies get all the glory. Like, everyone knows the name of Tiger Woods' caddy. I'm gonna go to Google for an unrelated reason.
Hello again. We've just seen Pokemon Puzzle. Why do I keep saying puzzle? Puzzle challenge. Excuse me. Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. A run from easy to insane that got pretty heated towards the end, as the name insane would suggest. We are at $410 raised for Save the Children right now. We greatly appreciate all the donations you've sent our way so far, or rather not even our way, but to Save the Children, because all of your donations go straight to Save the Children and they help the children around the world. Let's talk a bit more about upcoming bid wars that are going to be here soon in just a couple of hours. We have Diddy Kong Racing, which is still with just one option. That's the bid war is to choose the fire name. There is a 3-character limit, but I think you can still get pretty creative with just 3 characters. Right now, we only have one option, that is BLM for $15. If you want to, there is really no if you're just interested in the bid war, there is really no excuse to not donate, since even if you don't have enough money to outrace the one option that's already there, you can still like put an option there and some other person may find it interesting enough to push it over the already existing one. So anyway, we have just one option right now with $15. If you want to beat it, it's just gonna cost you $15. Another one of our incentives, another one of our bid wars even, is The Sims 3, which is coming up in a couple of hours, about 4. If we go along with the schedule. You can choose any name you like, up to 13 letters for both the first name and the last name. There are no suggestions as for now, and I assume some of them are gonna come soon. So you're good with proposing some of the names already, even though it's empty as of now. We also have language choice for Gothic. Gothic is gonna come up right after The Sims 3 ends, and we have a choice between Polish, English, and German. The very handsome runner can play in either of those three. And Polish is his favorite, or so I've heard. Polish is at $11 right now and is the winning option. Both English and German are at $0. So you might wanna get them going a bit. Reminder that all of the money you're contributing to Save the Children by NASA can also be attached to these incentives and bid wars. The next one we have is it's a couple of hours from now. We have watching the intro cutscene from Katamari Damacy Reroll. And that's gonna, we will be watching the cutscene instead of skipping it. That's $0 out of 100 right now. I think it's still gonna be met when its time is due. Just like the one with Pokemon Stadium a couple hours ago. Not a couple hours ago, like about an hour ago. That was beautifully met, and I think we can get all of the incentives during this weekend to be met as well. Right now, our next game is the incredible Jack Nicklaus's greatest 18 holes of major championship golf for the NES. If that doesn't make you get hyped for the next game, then I don't know what does. And I am being told we are actually ready, so give it up for FFR Pro again. Thank you very much.